much like the Alan Wake 2 video, I do not have a script for this, okay? It is late. It is dark. It is dark outside. It is almost my bedtime. We just finished Life is Strange Double Exposure live on stream, by the way, so if you want to go check us out on Twitch, you're more than welcome to do so. I spent the last, I think, 10-15 minutes, like, talking through my thoughts at the end of my stream. I did think of just cutting that and turning that into a video, but I'm like, no. We do things of quality around here, okay? I just finished Life is Strange Double Exposure, and here are my initial reactions and thoughts. I've played every other Life is Strange game before this one. Most of them I streamed. 1 or 2 of them I did not stream. So if you want to check those out, you're here on the YouTubes, go ahead and check out my other videos if you would like. I do have to warn though, some of those are like deep in the past. So like when I was like little baby Gray in grad school. So like, those might be a little cringe. I honestly don't know where to begin with my thoughts on Life is Strange Double Exposure. I guess where I can start is kind of talking about the overall plot of the game and how I described it in Twitch chat. Was chapters 1 through 4, great, fine, fantastic, took no issue with anything the game was serving to me. I was here for the idea of Max needing to save Sophie, who was her friend who died, and that Max could like split timelines because cool, we have a new time power now that's different from the old time power. Cool, I'm here for it. We had this Alderman detective guy who like disappeared into the fray, and then we're telling Moses in both timelines, or at least one of the timelines, like, hey, this shit is happening. And then we find out that Sophie has powers. Whoa, what a concept. We haven't seen that yet in a Life is Strange game. And then we confront Colmenero, or as I refer to him, Mr. Teacher Dude, because I just could not remember his name for the life of me. And then we get to chapter 5. And chapter 5, and again, it has been a very long time since I've played the very first Life is Strange game. So I don't remember how I initially felt about the 5-chapter sequence with Life is Strange 1. I don't remember how I felt with chapter 5. I do remember some disdain about the nightmare sequence, and I think that was more from a gameplay perspective and not necessarily a this is what the game is trying to do and showcase right now perspective. I think those are like 2 different thoughts and feelings about that section. But I don't remember feeling the way I feel now about chapter 5 of Double Exposure. It feels unresolved, and maybe that's purposeful because there is a hint, a not very subtle hint, of another game coming after this one, whether it be immediately after or maybe there's gonna be another game in between. I don't know, but this is not the end of Max and Sophie's tale, is it? No, it's not. We got a little teaser at the end. It literally said on screen, Max Caulfield will return. So it's definitely happening. But even in the sense, like, it still feels like something was off. It didn't feel like a Life is Strange game that I'm familiar with, if that makes sense. It feels like every other Life is Strange game kind of had this kind of resolution at the end, right? You had a very major choice that very much changed the ending of the game. Whereas it feels like with the ending of Double Exposure, it doesn't feel like the choice mattered. Sophie's still gonna leave. Now, how she leaves and her feelings towards you are going to change based on your final answer. I chose to refuse in my first playthrough, and I'm definitely going to go back through and replay it because I do want to see what those other options are. This decision had no impact. There was no really, and again, in the moment, I thought there was going to be a big, like, this was going to be like the deciding factor of things, but like, it wasn't. This is going to basically impact the next game. It doesn't impact the now of it. And I think that's what kind of is sticking with me. Oh, every choice we just made in this game doesn't really matter. None of it mattered. It matters in the sake of the next game and how Sophie treats you when she finally sees you again in the next game. Other than that, it didn't really matter now. Now, to kind of rewind a little bit, I made a time joke, wow, while talking about a game that has time travel. Wow, look at me, I'm amazing. Again, you know this is not scripted, so I did not script that. But to talk about things that are not plot specific, right? I really loved the new characters. I really enjoyed the chemistry that like you as Max have with Moses, and like the two love interests of Amanda and Vin, and your choices of, do you want to pursue one? Do you want to pursue none? Do you want to pursue both of them? Because you can do that, and I did that because I am indecisive and can't make choices. And I loved like the internal dynamics of like, oh, Reggie and Vin were together, so like you have to contemplate like Reggie's feelings about that. And then there's Diamond and Vin with like the whole Abraxas Society stuff. I loved how they kind of crafted these characters and they all mesh really well together, and the conflict that takes place between them and how you as the character can like interact with that conflict. It was just, they just really did a good job with the NPCs. Like most of them, like I felt like I could relate to them somehow, or I sympathized/empathized with them, and I really liked talking to them. They were great, with the exception of Loretta. She can go fuck herself, but I know she can turn a new leaf if you, depending on how your choices are in the final chapter. But in the beginning, Loretta, I fucking hated you. You little bitch. And again, the Life is Strange team, they just know really, really well what music to pick, when to play it, because the soundtrack was just, chef's kiss. I really enjoyed listening to the soundtrack. It was just fantastic. Good choices. I'm excited to listen to it and dive into it on Spotify. And I was playing the game on lower graphics, so I can't necessarily speak to like graphical wonders in technology, but I really did enjoy the style. I love the Life is Strange animation style and the 3D style. I really, really enjoy it. As I was grabbing a screenshot, so virtual photography, from playing Life is Strange over the weekend to create a thumbnail for this video, I realized I was actually playing at cinematic graphic settings, and still it doesn't look great. If you look at any of my screenshots, they just look so bad. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm playing on PC, it feels better on a console, I'm not sure. So in terms of graphical wonders, like I still love the Life is Strange art style, but just something it doesn't feel as clear. So if the thumbnail looks crusty, that's why. But yeah, I think what's sticking to me the most is just like the plot. Like it just, everything leading into chapter 5 was just so well done. I was super excited to play chapter 5, and then just chapter 5 just felt like kind of like a letdown in a way. It felt like they wrote the central plot of what they wanted to happen, but then just didn't know how to follow through with that plot. They knew they wanted Safi to end up dying. They wanted Max to be able to split between the two timelines of Safi being alive and Safi being dead. They knew Safi was going to have powers, and that this was her specific power, was being able to shapeshift, but then they didn't know how to wrap it up. They didn't know how to bring the pieces back together and to essentially fix it, if you will. The analogy I used when I was talking about this through stream was it kind of, the ending, when they're at the bar all together, it felt like the ending scene from Stranger Things season 4, where Eleven is coming out of the woods and there's smoke everywhere coming out of Hawkins, and this is the penultimate leading into season 5, which is going to be the final season of Stranger Things, which hasn't come out yet by the time I'm recording this. But it kind of felt like that. Like it felt like okay, like we're gathering all the best players, which is basically all the main characters of the story. We may have like people of the town like on our side now because they also realize something's fucked, even though they don't know what it is. And we are going to fight this thing together. But in the context of double exposure, the thing that we're fighting is a very emotional Safi who has the ability to turn herself into anyone she knows and has met before. You know, I kind of liked just having this power to ourselves But I also understand Max needing to like go through her trauma and to process her trauma, because like this entire game felt like an homage to like her finally figuring out like, yeah, she needs to let go, in quotes, let go of her trauma and like accept that her past is her past and there's nothing she could do now to fix it. And maybe now that her power is now out in the open, maybe she will actually now go to therapy. Because Max kind of needs it now. After going through not one, but 2 tornadoes, she kind of needs therapy. And another thing that's still bothering me, by the way, is that, remember the Alderman guy? Remember him? The one that I cursed the fuck out of in mid-chapter 2? I think it was chapter 2. Editing Gray, can you roll the footage, please?
Miss Caulfield, I do need you to leave the area for the time being.
Will you be okay?
Mr. Murphy will be fine.
I did not ask
I'll
you,
come back. Promise.
white guy. I did not ask you, sir. Are you Moses? No, you are not. So do not
Okay.
speak for the man.
Now's my chance to get into Moses' office.
Now fuck off, you little cockroach, cocksucking little dick bag,
At least I can
fuckface.
shift.
Yeah, so that guy. You remember him? You remember that guy? Yeah. So remember, I think it was in chapter 3, chapter 2, chapter 3, where he kind of just disintegrates in front of our eyes. And because he touches and melds with like another version of himself. Yeah, what happened to that plot line? Where'd it go? Like, we bring up this plot. Moses investigates this plot, which I thought was getting really interesting. Like, okay, like, are we pulling people from like different timelines? Like, what is happening here? Like, this seems really interesting. And then Moses makes the comment of like, okay, like, I'm the black guy in horror movies. Like, I'm not pursuing this box any further because like I know what's gonna happen. Like, this is not gonna end well, which is fair. But the overall plot line never comes back. They never address it. I was kind of hoping that in chapter 5, we would return to that sequence and be able to be like, oh yeah, this is why we saved Alderman. Like, this is what it leads to. But no, it was, in my eyes, in my perspective, it was kind of for nothing. Saving Alderman had no actual impact to the rest of the game because he doesn't return. He's gone. He doesn't exist anymore. He's just in the dark place now with Alan Wake, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe he's now also in the Entities realm, who's also with Alan Wake, because Alan Wake is also in the fog with everyone else. So maybe that's where they're at now. That would be a really interesting crossover. But it felt like that choice had no impact. Now, having played the entire game once through, it felt like that choice had no measure of how the game's gonna end or how that's gonna impact the other things around you. Now thinking about, like, I'm not even sure, like, how you can tell which choices impact what exactly. Because if you look at the chapter 5 stats, there's certain things that the other characters can choose to do at the end of the game, right? So Gwen, as an example, because the timelines are now combined, there's a couple of options for what happens to her. In my version of the playthrough, she ended up leaving Caledon, not pursuing it any further, and just moving on with the next stage of her life. There are apparently other options where she takes the firing but stays in Caledon, I believe. And there's also an option where she fights the battle. And same with Yasmin as the president. Like, in my playthrough, she is forced to accept the resignation of the presidency, but in other playthroughs, like, you can make it so that she either fights the board back on it, or that she accepts the resignation peacefully and doesn't put up a fight with it and doesn't have to be forced to step down. And like, I'm looking at these and I'm like, how the fuck do you even get to these options? Like, I'm very confused. and curious. So I'm gonna have to do some digging on that one, Chief, to figure that all out. But upon initial glance, and again, I'm recording this just fresh after finishing the playthrough, so these are just very honest, rapid thoughts that I'm having. Again, there is no script on my screen. I just have my Google browser opened with OBS on the other side. Like there's no script to be seen here. But upon initial playthrough, like there doesn't really seem like a lot of our choices have any substantial impact to the outcome of the game. And maybe all these choices are going to be for later down the line for the next game in the sequence, but you shouldn't have to do that though. Like if you're gonna make a game, the game itself should have its own choices that affect the game specifically. Now, if you want to have additional choices that affect the later outcome, like a later game, cool. This game should not be like, you must make choices here that affect the next game and only the next game. Like the choices you make within this game are not going to have any substantial impact. I hope there's through lines. I really hope whatever Don't Nod has cooking in the shed, in the meth lab, if you will, I really hope what they're cooking up is gonna make it feel really, really good and everything's gonna be great. Problem is, like, I really want to like it. I really enjoyed it through chapter 4. It was so good. Like the stuff with Mr. Teacher Dude Cole Monero was really interesting. I really wanted to see how it all played out. I was like flip-flopping back and forth with Vin because like I wanted to like him and I still technically do. Like I'm a fanboy for him. But I kept having this nagging feeling like, okay, like he's involved with something more. There's gonna be something more sinister here. But then there wasn't. And which is fine. They don't technically want to repeat the same things they did in the first game, where like Mr. Teacher Dude, Jefferson in the first game, like is also the baddie, like the big bad. Mr. Big Bad also has like snotty male student, which Vin wasn't technically a student at this time, helping and being his accomplice, right? I don't know, chat. I just don't know. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below on how you felt playing the game. Where does it rank? If you played the other Life is Strange games, where do you rank this one? Personally, I still rank this higher than Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2, I think, will still remain my least favorite of the Life is Strange games, though I am due to replay some of these ones because it's been a hot minute. But these are my unscripted thoughts of this. Thanks for joining me for another Gray's Gaming Diary. It's time for me to go to bed probably, and I'm really curious to see how this is gonna all play out. I really don't know how to end this video. But you're always welcome to join us live over on Twitch, where we do stream usually 3 days a week over there, playing a hodgepodge of different games. So you're always welcome to join us there. But you can always check back here for VODs and edited content like this in the future. With that, I will see you all real soon. Thanks so much for joining me on my rambling mess of train of thought. I think I covered everything. Let me know if you have anything else you want to add, and I'll see you all in the next video. My name's Aaron Gray, Queer Twitch streamer, signing off.